Oliver Ostrich reads ah, ah, ah. The Ostrich family was spending a quiet Saturday at their home in their nice nest. Daddy Ostrich and Mommy Ostrich praised Oliver Ostrich for the many ways he helped others. Oliver Ostrich helped others at home, at church, and at school. Oliver Ostrich's baby sister loved Oliver Ostrich too. Oliver helped tiny Ollie Ostrich by bringing her bottle of ostrich grass juice when she was hungry. Mommy Ostrich gave Oliver Ostrich the opportunity to go down the street to the store. On the way down the block, Oliver Ostrich was glad he was wearing his spotted down jacket. It was a cold October day outside. Suddenly, a great big green and red something popped up over a tall wooden fence at Oliver Ostrich. Oliver Ostrich gasped as he took off down the sidewalk as fast as an ostrich could run. By the time Oliver Ostrich reached the end of the block, he screeched to a stop. Oliver Ostrich had been running fast. Oliver Ostrich was out of breath. Oliver Ostrich could not see the green and red something anymore. What was that green and red something? Oliver Ostrich thought, I know it was not a monster. Daddy Ostrich told me there is no such thing as a monster. Oliver Ostrich kept telling himself, I'm so glad there are no monsters. Whatever that was, it was a little scary to a little ostrich like me. Hello to you, Oliver Ostrich, said a jolly voice. Oliver Ostrich jumped and accidentally flew up in the air. Oliver Ostrich was still feeling a little bit nervous. Oh! Groaned Oliver Ostrich when he flew up. Then Oliver Ostrich saw the friendly neighborhood policeman. Oh, it's you, Officer Oscar, said Oliver Ostrich on the way down. Oliver Ostrich, is something the matter? Asked the observant, friendly Officer Oscar. I'm not sure, Officer Oscar, said Oliver Ostrich. It's a bit silly and embarrassing. Oliver Ostrich scratched up a little bit of dirt with one big toe. I'm on the way to the store for my mother, but I got a little scared. Something green and red popped up and looked over the tall wooden fence at me. I'm sure it's nothing to worry over, Oliver Ostrich, Officer Oscar said. Officer Oscar put his wing across Oliver Ostrich's shoulders. I will be glad to walk with you past the tall wooden fence after you stop at the store. Oh, Officer Oscar, would you? Could you? Oliver Ostrich already felt so much better. First, I will help you cross the street safely, Oliver Ostrich offered Officer Oscar. When crossing a street, hold a grown-up's hand, instructed Officer Oscar as he took Oliver Ostrich's wing in his own. Stop on the curb. I know I should look in every direction very carefully, added Oliver Ostrich as he craned his long neck in every possible direction. That's absolutely right. You are a very wise little bird, Oliver Ostrich, praised Officer Ostrich. Remember to walk across the street. Do not run, as little ostriches like to do. Officer Ostrich held out a red stop sign with a wooden handle. The cars stopped. The automobile drivers smiled at Oliver Ostrich as Officer Oscar helped him cross the street. Thanks, Officer Oscar, called Oliver Ostrich as he stepped safely up on the curb of the opposite side of the street. I will be waiting for you, Officer Oscar promised Oliver Ostrich. Oliver Ostrich walked onward. Before long, Oliver Ostrich came to Oswald's grocery store. We offer everything from grass to gravel, a big sign in front of the store said. You know ostriches love grass to eat. They can eat and eat a lot and a lot of grass. Inside the grocery store, it was cool and everything was colorful. Oliver Ostrich took a deep breath. Oliver Ostrich smelled many wonderful smells. The grocery store was a cool, colorful place that smelled so good. Oliver Ostrich saw Mr. Oswald, the busy grocery store owner. Oliver Ostrich felt quite shy with Mr. Oswald, because ostriches are quite shy. Oliver Ostrich carefully shopped for the things Mommy Ostrich had drawn on her little shopping list. Then Mr. Oswald helped Oliver Ostrich check out. Oliver Ostrich paid the bill. Oliver Ostrich put the coins he got back into his pocket. Oliver Ostrich pinned the pocket shut again. Mr. Oswald put the heavier things on the bottom of a big brown sack. He put the lighter things on top. Are you sure you can carry this all by yourself? Asked Mr. Oswald with concern. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Oswald, called Oliver Ostrich as he went out of the doors. Oliver Ostrich met Officer Oscar again on the curb at the corner. All set? Asked Officer Oscar. Let's cross the street. Oliver Ostrich was very glad Officer Oscar was walking along beside him. Let's go find out about that green and red something, shall we? Asked Officer Oscar calmly. Oliver Ostrich and Officer Oscar got to the tall wooden fence. Oliver Ostrich looked and looked. Oliver Ostrich looked up at the fence. Oliver Ostrich looked at the big brown tree. Oliver Ostrich looked all around, but he could see nothing. There was nothing scary looking here now. Oliver Ostrich said with a sigh of relief. Officer Oscar looked and looked too. Well, Oliver Ostrich, observed Officer Ostrich, whatever that green and red something was, it is gone now. You will not ever have to be scared, Oliver Ostrich, because we all know that there is no such thing as a monster. I know that is true, Officer Oscar, said Oliver Ostrich. Thank you for reminding me that there is no such thing as a monster. Thank you for walking me past the tall wooden fence, too. Officer Ostrich waved as he went back to his spot on the corner down the block. Oliver Ostrich turned to walk the rest of the way home. It was not so far away now. Oliver Ostrich would be glad when he got home again. But just then, the big green and red something across the sky just popped right above Oliver Ostrich's house. Oh, Daddy Ostrich, Mommy Ostrich! Screamed Oliver Ostrich. Oliver Ostrich could not help but shout as he headed for the front door. Oh, what could it be? The green and red something. It couldn't be a monster. There are no such thing as monsters. But what is the green and red something?